Fox News alert for this. The high-stakes ABC News presidential debate is tonight. However, Vice President Kamala Harris and her team have been working for weeks to lower the expectations now for her. After ramping her up to be ready for these big moments 51 days ago, they now want to say, well, she's the underdog. Does that give them an advantage? What does it give them? I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Here is the VP before she began studying for that debate a week ago.
This race is going to be tight until the very end. So please, let's not pay too much attention to the polls because we are running as the underdog.
And she says it herself. Many of her fellow Democrats have been working overtime to push that very same underdog narrative.
It will take almost superhuman focus and discipline to deal with Donald Trump in a debate. It's no ordinary proposition.
He's the best counterpuncher in the history of American politics.
Donald Trump is a skilled debater. He has been in the most presidential debates of any candidate in presidential history.
This is his 7th general election presidential debate, probably the most of anybody in history. And Donald Trump's a showman, so we know he's going to come in ready to debate.
She's going to do great, of course, but Donald Trump will be good too. I mean, we can all remember he wrecked all of the Republicans. He's a good debater, and it's going to be close.
Critics are not buying the whole underdog strategy. Columnist, one of them, argues Harris's only shot at justifying her existence in the race will be the September 10th presidential debate on ABC. And lucky for her, the bar is set really low. After almost a decade of telling us President Trump is a buffoon, all of a sudden, regime media is claiming that, he is a formidable opponent. And to quote them, I mean, he suddenly now has historic skill. They've effectively given her a low bar of expectations to make this an easy win for her. Karl Rove broke down his expectations for former President Donald Trump.
You think that the stakes are higher for Trump? He has a harder job?
I think he does, because she has miraculously grabbed the label of the candidate of change when it was Biden versus Trump, where Trump was the candidate of change. But now with Harris on the field, miraculously, she somehow has been able to sort of dissolve the bonds that tied her to her superior, and is now seen as the new, different face.
New and different? She's been vice president for 3.5 years. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy is inside the debate hall in Philadelphia. Peter.
And Harris, the campaign is now admitting, the Harris campaign is admitting publicly for the first time that not being able to convince the hosts, ABC News, to to keep the mics hot, unmute the mics, kind of messed up their strategy.
Microphone muting issue is a challenge. I think it's a challenge for the viewer who wants to see these two candidates engage with each other in a real debate. She's not some fact checker in chief. I think that'll be the job of the media and the pundits who are paying attention and following along.
On the contrary, according to the Trump debate prepper, Tulsi Gabbard, who believes the VP has not been properly scrutinized and who says tonight's debate is a chance to touch on things left unsaid last cycle.
She talked every day about how she'd be a prosecutor president, but no one questioned her about what that record was and how that would translate if she were president. She's going to have a tough time trying to defend this record that, quite frankly, from the view of the American people, is indefensible.
On the big Philly area roads today, 95 and 676 and the Schuylkill Expressway, the DNC has a digital billboard up warning about Trump's threat to abortion access.
He plays from this really old and tired playbook, right, where there's no floor for him in terms of how low he will go. And we should be prepared for that. We should be prepared for the fact that he is not burdened by telling the truth.
The Harris campaign is also using a new ad starring Barack Obama to telegraph another potential line of Trump attack that could accuse him of having crowd size envy.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. America's ready for a new chapter.
A new chapter. That might be an empty promise, though, based on a look at the Harris campaign's new issues page on their website, because the New Republic decoded some of the computer coding on it and determined that large chunks of the Harris issue platform are just direct copy pastes from the Biden issues page.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no question about that just in terms of the depth of the material, right? It just looks like somebody did that who probably was tasked with it in a few minutes, and that was the quick and easy way to do it. And plus, then you don't have to explain it if it doesn't match what she's saying now. All right, right. Your last quick thought.
And that begs the question, why did it take them so long to put it up there if they were just going to copy paste? I could copy paste a script from 6 weeks ago and do it at noon, but I wouldn't have an excuse as to why it took me so long.
Wow. Well, you wouldn't need one because you have skills. All right, Peter Doocy, thank you very much. Power panel now, also skilled, Gianno Caldwell, Fox News political analyst, and Doug Schoen, former Clinton advisor. Great to have you. Doug, I want to start with you. I mean, you were just probably maybe able to hear what Peter Doocy and I were talking about. It's all part of this whole thing of they'll find out what she will be when it passes. It's very former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi-like. Like, we'll pass that health care bill, we'll pass whatever, and you can see what's in it when it passes. What are we getting, Doug?
We're getting a candidate, Harris, with a new way forward. I say that with a smile on my face because we really don't know what the new way forward is. What Karl Rove said is what she's trying to do is to make herself the candidate of change. And I think Donald Trump has to, in a respectful way, tonight make the case that his record was better and he has a better agenda given his speech last week to the Economics Club of New York. And he has an economic plan involving tax cutting, deregulation that is much more in sync with what the American people want than redistribution of wealth and higher taxes.
I remember when you made your political turn. It was on a show that I anchored on primetime on the weekends called The Fox Report. You were one of our Fox News insiders. And you determined on that show, on one night, on one Sunday night, that you would no longer vote for your friend and former wife of your employer, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. You couldn't vote for her. Will you vote for Kamala?
At this point, I cannot. I would call myself undecided at this point, but I can't vote for her for reasons related to her change in position and also the Middle East, as we have talked about before. I do not believe she is sufficiently committed to Israel and fighting anti-Semitism.
Gianno, and thank you for your patience as I asked that question. I do want to come to you because I think it's important to do the table setting now. Doug is about as Democrat as I know. And we know because we work with him. I mean, nobody's confused about whether or not Doug Schoen is a Democrat. But I'm wondering if this idea that we really don't know her after 3.5 years matters.
I mean, it does matter. And I'll tell you, it's become crystal clear to me that Kamala Harris is running scared. How do we know this? Well, she's only done one interview since she's become the Democratic nominee with her vice presidential nominee. In addition to that, there was a poll that came out today from NPR showing that 50% of independents believe that she's too progressive, too liberal. Now, with that consideration in mind, with this debate, her record is going to be exposed before the American people. I know she's tried to hide in the shadows of Joe Biden and only do ribbon cuttings, but she's going to be exposed today. And we're seeing the numbers come out every day looking in favor of Donald Trump, and the Nate Silver analysis putting him at over 60% likelihood in the Electoral College, winning the Electoral College. I'm sure sends shivers down their spine. But they have no response to it because what they continue to do is lie, lie, lie. They say that Donald Trump is his Project 2025 is his plan. It is not his plan. But this is what they're trying to do to win. Lie. Because they have no good record to stand on.
Yeah, not only that, not only had he been disavowing, but now the person with Heritage Foundation who had put all of that together, the director of that project, has resigned in recent weeks. So if the person who designed it is gone, then how could it have been Donald Trump in the first place? I mean, it's just not logistical. All right, a new piece, and you alluded to this, by Bill McGurn argues that liberal media have inflated the stakes for tonight's debate to help VP Harris. An excerpt. Ironically, the low expectations for Ms. Harris may be an advantage. All she has to do is not humiliate herself, and her performance will be hailed as a triumph. If the press corps did its job, we'd all know more of what we need to know about Kamala Harris and what kind of a president she'd make. But because it won't, it's all on Donald Trump to do that job himself. VP Harris and Governor Tim Walz, her running mate, have only done 6 interviews combined, together, as a ticket. Just one of those was a sit-down interview Kamala Harris did along with Tim Walz. They sat together, so she hasn't even been alone. Compare that to 39 interviews from Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance during that same time. You can get them alone, you can get them together. Harris has also gone 51 days now without a single formal news conference since it was announced she was running. Secretary Gina Raimondo did not seem concerned overall at the lack of transparency.
She's been impossible to pin down on anything because she hasn't given any access. The American people deserve it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and I hear you, but I respectfully disagree. This is a presidential election like no other. She only has a few weeks to do everything, and she's spending her time talking to Americans. She has a punishing schedule.
I want to get just a really quick reaction, and then I have another question. Doug, I'll come to you. Reaction to that.
Reaction is she will memorize talking points. She'll regurgitate them. She will not engage, and the media will declare her a winner, is my guess as to how it'll all go down, because I don't think she'll be pressed the way she needs to be.
Gianno.
Well, I don't believe that Kamala Harris is coming ready to play. She's relying on the media to support her, and certainly with ABC giving 100% positive coverage for her, 98% to negative to Donald Trump, we already know what the table looks like.
Yeah, I think we learned it, too, at that, interview where he was with the black journalists in Chicago, and ABC News had the first question on that one, and it didn't even acknowledge that he had survived an assassination attempt not too long before.
Right.
So, I mean, I think we know a little bit of what we potentially could get, but let's be positive and hope that everything is fair. Hope is not a strategy, though. So, Doug, I want to come back to you because you said something. You said Donald Trump has to respectfully go at the policies of Kamala Harris. And I think I know what you mean by that, because if you attack her too hard, she becomes the successful victim that she knows how to play. She's a former prosecutor.
That's exactly right, Harris. Every poll that we've done and I've seen says that on the issues of inflation, the southern border, and crime, the top 3 issues facing the country, Trump leads her and has a better record from his presidency than Biden-Harris. That's where he needs to go. That's what he needs to do. If he is too over the top, attacking her, questioning her ethnic or racial identity, all that'll happen is it'll backfire on him.
Gianno.
Well, I've been talking to members of the Trump campaign, and they feel really good about where Donald Trump is, and they feel that he's going to do an excellent job tonight sticking to policy and solutions for the American people, because that's what we so desperately need.
Yeah, I mean, he won the one against Biden. He ended a 50-plus-year career by tacitly making him a lame duck in one night on June 27th of this year. All right, so we will see the woman who took his place at the top of the ticket, Kamala Harris, go up against Donald Trump. The world will be watching, not just America. Big audience. Great to see you, gentlemen. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.